Prince Alaric was born on a Sunday morning, the kind of calm morning when the world feels gentle, as if it is holding its breath in hope.
He is finally here. The gods have truly blessed us this day. A miracle. Praise the gods.
His mother, Queen Maeve, had lost many children before him, tiny lives that came and went like flickering candles. She had buried so many that when Alaric arrived, healthy and warm and crying with a fierce strength, she fell to the floor and wept. Not from sadness this time, but from the shock of receiving a miracle. Alaric was her last child. Her final chance. Her sunrise after a long, lonely night. The palace celebrated him with drums, dancers, and a feast that lasted until the moon pushed the sun aside. But underneath the joy, a quiet truth lived between the mother and her son. Alaric was born carrying the weight of every dream she had ever lost. He grew quickly. He crawled early. He spoke early. He asked questions no one expected a child to ask. And he loved with his whole heart, especially his older brother, Rowan. Rowan couldn't walk. His legs had been weak since birth, thin like candle wax and easily bruised. Most people treated Rowan as if he were made of paper, fragile and inconvenient, but not Alaric. Alaric pushed his chair everywhere, shared his food, told him stories until Rowan laughed so hard that tears rolled from his eyes. "Someday I'll run," Rowan said often. "And when I run, you'll never catch me." Alaric always answered the same way. "Then I'll learn to fly." They were inseparable, two hearts beating in the same rhythm, like twin drums. But when Alaric was 8, the rhythm broke. Rowan died quietly in the night. No warning. No goodbyes. He became a fallen star, never to rise again. Queen Maeve screamed so loudly that servants ran into the corridor. King Lorien punched the wall until blood ran down his knuckles. And Alaric, he simply sat beside his brother's body, holding the cold hand that had once held his. A note lay on Rowan's chest. It was short. Gentle. Heartbreaking. Alaric is meant to be great. I do not wish to slow him down. Forgive me. Those words carved themselves into Alaric's chest, leaving a wound no one could see but everyone could feel. After the burial, Alaric walked the halls differently, quieter, slower, as if he were afraid the ground might disappear beneath him. His sisters tried to cheer him. His mother tried to pull him close. His father tried to make him busy with lessons. But grief does not bend to anyone's will. It sat beside Alaric like a shadow that would not leave. One peaceful afternoon, an envelope arrived at the palace, thin, cream-colored, sealed with dark blue wax. The symbol on the seal belonged to a faraway kingdom, one that rarely wrote letters unless the message truly mattered. It was written in French. No one could read it except Alaric. The boy stepped forward shyly and spoke each line aloud. His voice shook at first, but as he read, confidence grew in him like a small flame finding oxygen. When he finished, he looked up and found the entire room staring at him. A child who could read foreign scripts? A child who learned languages by listening only twice? A child who solved puzzles faster than the adults set them? Whispers spread. And whispers turned into envy. Some of the king's wives, who already competed for influence, grew suspicious of the boy. "He is too clever," one muttered. "Too noticed," said another. "A child who shines too brightly always attracts darkness," murmured the third. The priest, Floki, was called, an old man with tired eyes and a secret resentment tucked beneath his robes. He touched Alaric's forehead, muttered ancient words, and nodded in satisfaction. By nightfall, Alaric could no longer read. The next day, he could no longer speak. By evening, even his laughter was gone. He kept opening his mouth, but the words refused to come out, like frightened birds refusing to leave a cage. Queen Maeve begged the king to undo whatever had been done. But King Lorien was blind with grief and guilt. He sent Alaric away to stay with his sister instead, hoping the sea air would heal what had been broken. Alaric left the palace quietly, without ceremony, sitting in a small wooden boat with his caretakers. He watched the palace grow smaller and smaller behind him until it was only a memory against the sky. 3 nights into the journey, everything went wrong. Men boarded their boat, silent, masked, merciless. Alaric's caretakers were thrown overboard. The boy was tied, gagged, and carried away like precious cargo. He did not cry. He did not scream. He simply stared forward, numb, cold, calm in the way only traumatized children can be. He was taken to a large ship where other children sat huddled like frightened lambs. And among them was the girl whose face he had drawn hundreds of times without knowing why. Ilara. Her hair was tangled, her clothes torn, but her eyes glowed like warm fire on a winter night. The moment she looked at him, something inside Alaric trembled, recognition, connection, destiny, or something older than all three. Methuselah. Maybe. He didn't know her name. He didn't know her story. But he knew her face. He had sketched it in margins, on scraps of cloth, even in dust. She was real. She existed. And somehow their fates had collided. Ilara reached out gently and touched his bound hands. "You're safe now," she whispered, even though neither of them truly were. For the first time in months, Alaric felt the faint warmth of hope. It was small. But it was enough. The darkness that took his voice, the grief that crushed his spirit, the shadows that stalked his footsteps, none of it mattered in that moment. Because he was not alone anymore. Not in his fear. Not in his pain. Not in whatever destiny was unfolding around them. And quietly, like a seed beginning to split inside the earth, the boy who had lost everything felt something new. A beginning.